Hello everyone and welcome to Blogger Everything and welcome back to the channel. And well, that was not what I was expecting. Honestly speaking, I didn't think that Barca would put on much of a performance here tonight, if not, even try to do anything. But there was actually quite a nice bit of bite and competitiveness to the team that we saw out there. And it was good to see Barcelona return to winning ways and also for now return to second place as they saw off Real Sociedad at home with a 2-0 win. Goals coming from Raphinha and Lamine Yamal, both of whom I thought were Barcelona's best players on the night, and a surprisingly good performance from Robert Lewandowski as well. So, we saw Xavi get to make some changes to this team, like really just one in particular, Ronald Araujo getting a rest, Inigo Martinez instead coming in for him, and I felt some much needed time away for Ronald Araujo. He's not really been able to put it all together on the pitch of late, since that Valencia match. Really, he's not really been able to put it all together, mentally on the pitch, and I think giving him some time away, that might do him some good. And as a result, Barca keeping a clean sheet as well, which, didn't see coming. And what you also didn't see coming probably is the fact that Marc-Andre ter Stegen is in the running for the Zamora trophy, the trophy for the goalkeeper with the most clean sheets this season, which honestly feels like a bit of a sick joke when you consider how bad Barcelona's defending has been and how the reason they did terribly in La Liga is because they could not keep clean sheets. Anywho, they did tonight, and overall, I can't really knock the team. It was a good win. They should have probably scored more than 2 goals here, but as usual, the team plagued by its poor finishing and poor decision making at moments. I'm not going to go too heavy on that because some of those moments are just youthful exuberance, with Lamine Yamal, for example. Some other of those moments saw brilliant saves, honestly, by Ramiro, and a bit of bad luck for Raphinha, who hit the post just early on in the first half before Gundogan skied the ball for like an open goal. That one I don't even want to explain or dwell on it much. But at the end of the day, a win for Barcelona, much needed, because like we talked about in my last upload, which was the podcast discussing things like, Vitor Roque and his future and all of that. By the way, if you haven't yet seen that, go ahead and check it out as well. Pretty informative podcast, I think. Pretty informative episode it was, except for the part where I obviously start making match predictions and saying I want the rest of the season to finish. Just take all of that with a grain of salt and, ignore it if you can. Just like we're going to try and ignore the fact that Vitor Roque once again didn't get a single minute in this game. And honestly, it feels like Xavi is just going to ignore him for the rest of his tenure, which for me feels weird because even João Felix, you think, is probably going to get some minutes between now and the end of the season. And we all know João Felix isn't coming back next season. So, the fact that Roque's future isn't yet completely decided, sure, there's that fact that Xavi doesn't see a place for him in the squad. But, things can change. Last season, who saw a place in the squad for Fermin Lopez, for example? Not me. Definitely not Xavi either. But here he is today. So, Olive Branch still is going to be extended. At the end of the day, he's a Barcelona player. Anywho, I don't really want to dwell too much on this. It's ended pretty late on a Monday night, which, I have to go to bed because I have got work. I still have a day job because not enough of you guys are subscribed. Maybe if I hit 10K, I wouldn't need a day job. Maybe the money from here would compete with the money for the job. Anywho, aside from all of that, I do thank you all for tuning in. I don't really have that much more to say. Like I had said, except good performance on the day. Lamine Yamal, of course, man of the match. He looked pretty impressive considering he was up against some pretty decent defenders, some pretty decent adult fullbacks. Even Arsenal's Tierney was, in knots for a little bit up against our kid, Lamine Yamal. And that was good. That was nice. And hopefully he can build on that going into next season. But for me, something which remains, again, a bit worrying is there were no minutes for Hector Fort either here. Now, something which I I just remembered as well, which I have to take back from that podcast episode and maybe from the last match with you as well. I did mention the fact that Cancelo should be benched by Hector Fort for the rest of the season. And in as much as I do think Cancelo deserves less minutes on the pitch and, a bit of a rest, kind of like Araujo got today, I guess maybe I understand why Xavi isn't benching him for Hector Fort, because remember the last time Cancelo was getting benched for a youngster who was a fullback, Sir Enrico Lewis. Well, we heard rumors that Cancelo was putting in some pretty tough challenges on him in training. And honestly speaking, we don't want anything like that to happen to kids like Hector Fort. So please, Cancelo, I take it back. Do not hurt Hector Fort. Xavi, I understand why you're playing him, but just at least substitute him, right? You can at least take him off at 75 minutes. Anywho, that is basically that for me. Thank you once again for tuning in. To have a great day, and Forza Barça.